I hope that when we stand up to those who oppress our communities, that Allah accepts from us that as a form of jihad, that we are struggling against tyrants and rulers, not only abroad in the Middle East or in the other side of the world, but here in these United States of America, where you have fascists and white supremacists and Islamophobes reigning in the White House.
Leftist icon Linda Sarsour, she's a Bernie Sanders supporter. She's a Sharia law advocate. She also helped organize a women's march in Washington, D.C. She gave an incendiary, inflammatory speech demanding, basically declaring and talking about Muslims waging jihad against President Trump. She also said that, quote, the #1 priority for Muslims is to not assimilate and to only please Allah. Now, Sarsour is being groomed as a leader of the Democrat Party. Now we have this. A Muslim contributor to the Dallas Morning News came to Sarsour's defense, saying jihad is personal for me. It's not terrorism. If you want to understand the true meaning of jihad, you only have to look to the daily struggles of every human being. But the word in Arabic simply translates to struggle. It's been hijacked by Islamic extremists and Islamophobes, two sides of the same coin, to mean violence and holy war. Let's be clear. The Quran talks about jihad as war. Let's be clear about Linda Sarsour. She backs Sharia law. Sharia law oppresses women, even though she organized a women's march in D.C. She opened her speech talking about jihad, and in that speech in which she talked about jihad and the president, she praised as her mentor. She opened up the speech praising as her mentor and supporter Siraj Wajah. He's a terrorist. He's an unindicted co-conspirator of the '93 attack on the World Trade Center, which killed 6 and injured more than 1,000. Now Sarsour's mentor, this terrorist, repeatedly said that telling people to not be violent, that's not the Islamic way. You should be violent. Let's bring in the American Islamic Forum for Democracy president, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. What do you think now of Sarsour playing the victim, saying she didn't mean jihad in the sense of attack? Do you believe her?
Oh, absolutely not, because either she's delusional, which she's not, or she's dishonest, and she's trying to play the American public for fools. Now, mind you, she was speaking to an Islamic group, but she also knows that she was going to get some attention with this. And I think it's good that we're having finally some mainstream attention to what jihad means. And the apologetics, like you read some of which out of the Dallas Morning News, now there was some reality there, the fact that jihad has certain meanings. And she can't get away from the fact that her Palestinian friends in Hamas are part of the Muslim Brotherhood, and the Muslim Brotherhood's motto is that they want to die by the way of jihad and die for Allah. So that is clear what jihad means. Jihad to the Iranian government means armed struggle. To the Saudis, it's interpreted as armed jihad for military struggle. To the Pakistani Islamic Republic. So hundreds of millions of people, movements, believe that jihad means armed struggle, and these few individuals who are trying to pull the wool over the Americans' eyes want to somehow say that the brand of jihad only means, it doesn't mean ISIS, which has hijacked it. No, the establishment, the leaders of all of our faith leaders are part of the meaning of armed jihad, and we have to reform that. And they don't want to own up to it. They just want to be victims.
But why is the Democrat Party accepting a person like Linda Sarsour in its ranks? A woman who clearly is supporting Sharia law, which oppresses women. I don't get it.
Because they don't want to look that far down the road and look into analyzing the ideas that she's actually promoting. As you mentioned, her mentor, I talk about in my book, A Battle for the Soul of Islam. In 1995, he held up the Constitution and held up the Quran and said, it is our role to change the Constitution with this book from God, not a man-made one. And I said that was the day I asked every American Muslim to resign from that organization because it's seditious, and she still calls him her mentor. The Democrats use people like this to pull the identity card, to say that they're protecting minorities. They don't care what they do abroad because they have this bigotry of low expectations.
Right.
They don't care what the Islamic Society of North America does within its meetings because they don't care about those women that are oppressed by the Linda Sarsours of the world to be tools for their identity flags and identity movements. They just want to use us as a part of the left versus right axis in America.
And just a footnote, behind the 1993 attack on the World Trade Center, the terrorist behind it, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, he slit the throat of journalist Danny Pearl. Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. We have